The final playoff push is upon us. It's Week 12 of the NFL season, and we're underway on EA Sports. This is taking you to 13. And he is out of bounds as they'll start up past the 30. So here are the Bears now for their opening drive. And a glance here at the man calling the plays under center, their 6'4" quarterback. They'll run it now out of the gun. And they'll get it up just short of the 45 at the 44. It'll be a gain of 10 to start the drive out, and by a few inches, that'll be a first down. Well, one unit I know you want to watch is that offensive line. If they keep clearing holes like that, it could be a long night defensively.
No doubt about it, because when they are in sync, as we're seeing so far, when that continuity is there, and you can see that they're playing off of each other while controlling the defensive front linebackers, you're exactly right. It could be a very long night for the defense because someone's going to run for some big yardage.
And give him about 5 as he gets this up to the 48-yard line. And the Buffet boys, the O-line, hopefully they're ready today.
Listen, you got to feed them first. But if you do, you usually get a great product out on the field. And when they play well, the quarterback can't wait to feed them afterwards.
Now they'll run it on the toss. And he'll take it down shy of the 45 at the 46. It'll go as a gain of 6 that time, and it moves the chains as well.
Any team that runs the toss and runs it successfully, that means they win the battle on the edges. That means you seal the edge in order to let your back get to the corner. They got it done there for a very nice game.
And a new set of downs here after picking up the first on the ground. Back to throw. Pace. And seeing no options, he just tosses this one away, incomplete. Now that'll bring up second down. And the big meat on the D-line, we'll see how they do today.
And I'd hate to be an offensive lineman having to deal with these guys. They come in hungry, mean, and confident. They think that no one can block them.
Now a handoff here to his running back. And just a short gain that time as they're able to get him down. Give him 3 on the play, and that'll make it third down. So a look here at the key inactives, and we got this list before the game down on the field. And they tell us the same thing every time, don't they? Next man up.
No excuses. Be ready to play. That's the mantra of every organization. The key is having guys on the roster who are capable of filling in and playing at a high level. That's when you know you've drafted well, scouted free agents well, and stocked your team just the way you're supposed to.
So on fourth down, on is the punter, Pat O'Donnell, to kick it away. And no return possible here as they angle this one out of bounds. So here are the Giants ready to start their initial drive of the game. At a glance at the man under center at 6'5", he always demands attention. James throwing on first down. And incomplete to open things up. And the big boys up front in the trenches. What do you think of the O-line, Charles?
I love them because this is a group that's so cohesive. They know what the man next to them is going to do at all times, and they operate as a terrific unit.
They'll run it now out of the gun. He takes this for 3 to the 29. And this defensive line will be looking to control the point of attack.
And that's what they've done throughout this season. This is a terrific unit. They play together very, very well, and they don't permit big plays to happen. The Bears have put an extra defender in the secondary on 3rd down.
Yep, they're in the nickel. Looking to throw. James. And he will find his man on the outside. And he's got the first before he's brought down at the 39-yard line. They get 9 out of that one, and as a result, the drive continues.
But it appears that they read man defense and went to the out route, and what you have to do on that one is a receiver's got to make sure he works the defender towards the middle of the field to give himself space to cut to the outside and have that ball delivered with good timing, and they got it done.
Coleman. Gets by him, and now a little daylight. It's a pickup of 16 there, and it'll lead to a new set of downs.
Well, how many times do we say in this game that speed kills, and it does it in so many different ways? In this case, you got a back who's quick and shifty, can make moves, make people miss, but also gets to and through a hole before it can close down. That's some of the benefits of that speed, not just outrunning people in the secondary, and that led to a really nice gain.
So the run moves the chains, and here we go on 1st down. They stay on the ground. Again, it's Coleman. And they'll bring him down after just a short pickup. Just a yard on the 1st down carry, so it's 2nd and 9.
That was a really nice play, able to stack that one up. When they get back in the huddle, he's got to tell his guys up front, great job. They kept people off of him, allowed him to run free, and make the hit on the runner.
Filled the gap nicely, kept him to just a 1-yard gain. Here's Coleman. And a nice move will yield nothing as he's stopped behind the line. He lost 4 there, and it's 3rd down.
Came out in a power set, but that only served to put more men in the box. And guess what? If you're going to do that, you've got to win up front, right? Your offensive guys have got to beat the defenders. They lost all leverage on that play.
Now James to throw on 3rd down. It's a short one here, complete to the tight end. And he'll go down inside the 45 before going out of bounds. Just a 5-yard pickup, and it leads to 4th down. And the Giants send out their punter now, as he should be able to pin him back deep here with his first punt. And a little too much mustard on that one. It hits a couple yards into the end zone. A missed opportunity there maybe to pin him back. Here's the Chicago offense coming back out onto the field. And to be frank, they're just in a tough spot. It's only November, already eliminated from playoff contention. I know their fan base doesn't want to hear that, but that's the case. What are they fighting for now going forward?
You know exactly what they're fighting for. Is that word that some people don't want to hear, but it's pride.
Draft. Oh, okay. I was going to go draft, but pride's better, right?
Well, you know something? You're right, because that's part of it, but that's 2 different mindsets. That's front office mindset, draft position, where are we going to be and what do we need to get? And then the players and the coaching staff right now, pride. Can they win some games and feel better about themselves despite the fact they have no shot at the playoffs?
And to give this time to the tailback. And this one goes nowhere. Losing yardage back at the 22. And they'll lose a yard that time, and that's going to lead to a 3rd down. Excellent effort defensively by him. 2 tackles for a loss last week, now 1 here in the first quarter.
He's an absolute disruptor, isn't he? And I think most offenses would love to go against guys who just want to hold the point of attack and try and keep things clean for their linebackers. But when they make those moves and they can get upfield field, past the offensive line into the backfield, that's hard to handle.
Let's go. To throw on third down. Pace. Throwing the out route incomplete. It's Houston. And he's able to get it to the 31, and that's enough for the first. 9 yards on the pickup there, and it keeps the drive alive. And he'll give it here to his running back. And he'll get this up to about the 40. 9 yards is the pickup there, and they'll have a 2nd and 1. Well, they're making an effort to get the ground game going tonight. So far, it's working.
I like what we're seeing from the offensive line. They seem to have the leverage going, and they're controlling things and reestablishing the line of scrimmage, moving that defensive front backwards. But also like what the runner's giving us, too. It appears that he's been waiting all day long to get out here and take off.
Off the play fake. Pace. He's got his man on the crossing route. And he'll be taken down, but not before he gets into enemy territory. Give him 12 yards on that one. It earns him a fresh set of downs.
Such a valuable commodity to have a tight end who can run and get open. How about what he just did there? Worked his way from right to left across the field and found his way free.
So here we go, 1st and 10 now.
Here we go.
Operating from the gun. Pace. It's a short one here, complete to his tight end. And he'll go down shy of the 40 at the 41. 7 yards, the pickup on the pitch and catch.
And there's another completion to the tight end. And let's face it, it is hard to overthrow a 6'6" target.
It is indeed. Quarterbacks like their speed guys. They like that huge 6'6" target that they've got in him.
They really do, and it reminds me of what one great tight end told me once. He had told his quarterback, just make sure you throw it up there. You know, kind of like put up on the top shelf where the kids can't get it.
Hang on now. 319. 319.
They'll run it now out of the gun. And very little there. He might have gotten a yard. Yeah, I think he got a yard to the 41.
Now, that result is no surprise. This team is bringing back memories of what? The 85 Bears, the 2000 Ravens. Those teams were so great against the run, they made you abandon any plans of doing that when you played against them.
And they'll run it here. And this one goes nowhere. Losing yardage on the play back at the 46. Call it a loss of 6 on the play. And that's going to make it 4th down.
Okay, let's just make this one simple. We know that the running game is not their thing, but they can't just throw it on every single down without expecting some real heat from the pass rush.
Here's Pat O'Donnell now, as he'll punt it away for the 2nd time. Out of bounds and close. The question, was it a touchback? No. They'll say it crossed out at the 2-yard line. They'll come up now with the clock showing 3 seconds to go here in the first. They begin the drive with Coleman. So we played 1 quarter here on a Monday night. 0-0 our score. And we're back to Soldier Field after this. Alongside Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin, and it's the Giants with the football here as we begin quarter number 2. They're looking at a 2nd and short yardage to start things out. James now operating from the gun. Throws a quick hitter on the slant. That's complete. Call it a gain of 7, and it gets him a new set of downs. And that's one of his advantages of a passer, is it not? With his height, setting back there in the pocket, firing it over the middle, he can really see everything clearly.
It is, and I know that other quarterbacks get it done different ways, all right? You don't have to be his height to make a great play, but what he does is he takes away having to make those slide steps in the pocket to find angles to throw the ball through. He just throws right over the top of it because he can see everything, and sometimes that saves time and gets the ball to a receiver quicker.
And he'll lose yardage here, back to the 15. Calling a loss of 2 on the play, and it'll be 2nd and 12. They tried to run the counter, just that the defense wasn't fooled.
And when they're not fooled, you see the end result.
And he's going to go down. Back at his own 5-yard line, it's a sack. And their inaugural sack of the game coming from an unlikely source.
You mean it wasn't a linebacker? It wasn't a defensive end?
It was somebody like you.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that's a surprise for the offense. That's not what they normally get when they think about pressure.
Need something from deep in the bag of tricks here after 1st and 2nd down went backwards. It's 3rd and very long. Back to throw. James. Going underneath, it's Coleman. And he'll be out of bounds just shy of the 10. Call it a 3-yard gain, and that's going to bring up a 4th down.
Was that a receiver? Yeah, actually it was. There was a running back who was a receiver on the play. Ike's been spending time in the receiver drills getting his feet down.
Well, those guys out of the backfield, they got to be good, agile with their feet. He showed the agility there with a toe tap.
No doubt about it. It's like he'd run to ballet school. Got the toes down and stayed in bounds.
And the Giants send out their punter now, as he'll kick it away for the 2nd time. And he gets this away, and look at this. This is a good one. And oh, he sheds a tackle. Now he's got some space. A good return there. Call it 13 yards. And the Bears take over. Onto the field now come the Bears. And this is their 3rd drive. Maybe the focus right now not so much on points, but getting their first down.
And when you start off a game, you don't even think that's an issue, do you? But you go a drive, a 2nd drive, no 1st down, that becomes an issue. Now you got to think about, okay, what type of play calling do I have to do to get us in a spot to pick that first one up?
Throwing to start the drive. Pace. He couldn't quite hold it. Got hit. Ball pops out. Incomplete. Second down here after the incomplete pass. To throw again. Pace. And he comes back with one complete. And he'll bring it up here to right at the 40-yard line. 8 yards on the completion, but now they face 3rd down. The Bears on 3rd down, just 1 for 3 thus far. Here it's 3rd and 2. Off play action, Pace. And he's got his man on the out route. And he goes out of bounds. It looks like right at the 50. It's a 10-yard pickup, and it moves the chains. Now a handoff here to his running back. And that play will go nowhere. Losing yardage back near midfield at the 49. It'll be a loss of a yard, and that'll bring up a 2nd and 11.
All right, partner, despite my eating habits, I'm not big enough to play offensive tackle, nor am I quick enough. But with the defensive ends nowadays and their speed, those guys have to be able to punch and dance, and it's a tough, tough job to contain them.
To throw on second down. Pace. And this one taken in on the right sideline, but not in the field of play. They say it's incomplete. The throw led him a little too far. It brings up third down. The Bears on third down. They've hit 2 for 4 thus far. This is 3rd and 11.
Here we go. 3-19.
Looking to throw. Pace. Open man is Holmes. And he gets it to the 32. Good enough for a first down. They call it a gain of 19, and it moves the chains. They'll run it now out of the gun. And he gets stopped up at the 31 after a gain of maybe a yard.
Well, that call makes sense because they've been throwing it well on this drive, and once again they show passing formation, showing the shotgun. Then they ran out of it. That's a nice play by them defensively, though, to hold it to a short gain.
Here we go.
Looking to throw on second down. Pace. And it's a short one here, complete to the tight end. The reception good for 7. It's third down. So they need 2 yards here on third down. Remember, they're already 2 of 2 on third down conversions on this drive. Now they'll run on the draw. And he went nowhere. He'll lose yardage back to the 29. Losing 4 yards that time. And now it's fourth down.
Brandon, it's funny, isn't it? Oftentimes when we get with these offensive coordinators, they always talk about the word balance. Well, sometimes you take balance and just throw it out the window. Sometimes balance is using what keeps working. And that's what they were doing, throwing the football.
Here's Pat O'Donnell now as he's on to punt for Chicago. He's been a busy man here in this first half as he gets it away. That'll be out of bounds, and how good was that? They'll say the 3-yard line. That's where they spot it. And New York set to take the field. They're going to have to go at least 50, 60 yards here if they want to ensure that they don't have to punt the ball like they did last time.
Yeah, so what you're saying is we're not playing to just get out of the shadow of your own goal line, right? You're playing to make sure the punter doesn't see the field again. So it's not picking up a couple of first downs. You want to pick up 5 or 6 first downs and make sure you move the ball into their territory.
Now a play fake here on first down. It's a short one here, complete to his tight end. And he's able to get this across the 10 before being taken down. They needed some breathing room. He gave it to him. 11 yards and a first down. Here's James on first down. And he's taken down. Back at his own 7.
Was it a breakdown in protection? Did the running back not pick him up? What does it really matter? Sometimes it's just a great play made by the defense. Big-time sack.
Under 4 to go now as the clock runs and they come up on second down.
Let's go.
To throw is James. Looking to throw on second down. Firing quickly here, and that's complete. And he's taken down, but not before he gets this across the 25-yard line. And the play goes for 19 yards, gives him a new set of downs. James on 1st and 10. It's a short one here, complete to the tight end. And he'll get it up near the 35, right at the 34 here. Give him 9 there on the first down completion. Now James, off play action, pressure, and he's taken down. A Bear sack.
Now that was just absolute perfect man coverage. Nowhere for them to go with the football. Led to a sack. And that's really difficult to do in today's NFL with all these gazelles running around that you're trying to cover in the secondary.
The Giants on 3rd down. Just 1 for 3 thus far. This is 3rd and 7. 2 minutes remain in a scoreless first half. We're back to Soldier Field following this short break. A reminder, coming up at halftime, we'll check in with Larry Ridley for highlights and analysis of our first half of play. Not too many highlights yet, at least in terms of scoring plays, that is.
Yeah, but hang in there. We might get something in these last 2 minutes.
James now, off the play fake. And pressure gets to him again. Now the Bears electing to call a timeout defensively. It's just their first, so they'll have 2 remaining here before we get to halftime. So the defense had a chance to catch their breath, and now they're back out and ready. And the Giants send out their punter now, standing right on his own 5-yard line. He steps into this one, and this is a rocket. And this will be taken at the 13. 12 yards on the return that time. And possession will switch hands, 1st and 10. Now the Bears offense ready to take over again. The results for them so far not that great. Well, not good at all. 3 drives, 3 punts.
Yeah, and now what you're doing is you're looking at your play sheet. You're trying to figure out what you're going against defensively. I wonder, are they showing them something they haven't seen or anticipated in practice, and maybe that's throwing them off? Or do they just have to go to a different play calling section and try and run some offense that way?
It's caught. Reception by Holmes. Even with that broken tackle, can't go very far. Stop short of the 30. That throw good for 4. It's 2nd down. To throw on 2nd down. Pace. And an incomplete pass. That'll stop the clock here with just under a minute to play in half number 1.
Green 39! Green 39!
On 3rd down. Pace. He'll have a 1st down past the 40. So he fought off the tackle, and that effort gives him the 1st before he's brought down. Now the Bears going to use the 2nd of their timeouts as the clock shows 50 seconds to play here in half number 1. On 1st down, Pace. And no escaping this time as he'll go down. They got him for a sack. And there they bring pressure from the inside, and they get home.
Yeah, hard to block everyone, isn't it? And on this play, someone did not get blocked. He's the one who got home.
Looking to throw on 2nd down. Pace. He's going to air one out. And that is incomplete. So we are at halftime here on a Monday night, as we'll send you down to Orlando, where Larry Ridley has our EA Sports Halftime Report. Larry?
Thanks, guys, and welcome everyone to the EA Halftime Report. Let's take a look back at the scoreless first half of play. Defense has been the name of the game. It's not often you see a matchup where both sides can't find a way to get on the scoreboard. We'll have to see if the offense picks up in the second half. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from the first half. Bears on offense midway through the second. Pace is going to find his mark, and he'll eventually be brought down, but not before getting to the 32-yard line. Third down at the 29. Myers is able to zero in on the QB here. This ends up as a loss of 9. Down so late in the first half. Defense is going to come away with the sack. This will go for a loss of 7. So that'll do it from here in Orlando. No points in this one yet, but we'll hand it back over to a man who's always on point. That's Brandon Gott.
This will be taken in at the 1. And he'll take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. Yeah, the Giants ready to come out now. So far, they've had 3 drives, 3 punts. Not good.
Not good indeed, because you've got to have something to show for being out on the field. Now, sometimes, if you have a game where neither side has scored, 3 punts isn't a bad thing. But when you're trying to set the pace, get up on top in a game, you've got to show better offense and find a way to put some points on the board.
That is not going to be any help as they dump him behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of a full 3 yards, and now it's second down.
Well, you had to punt on your first drive, and on the first play of the second drive, you end up going backwards. I would dare say they need something good to happen right here, right now.
All right, here we go. Green, 39.
Here's James to throw on second down. And this one's incomplete. The Giants on third down. They've only converted once in 4 tries. This is going to be 3rd and 13.
Let's go. 3-19.
Back to throw. James. A bullet throw, but incomplete. Another drive comes and goes. Still nothing on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and when the second half comes, you know, it's real easy to get discouraged and wonder if you're ever going to get things started. You just got to fight through it. Got to keep pounding away.
He gets this one away, and boy, it's another boomer. And taken right on the 30. Oh, and now he bowls him over. So a change of possession here on the punt. And that will come the offense as they take over. Now we take a glance at the offense as they work their way back out for their first possession of the second half. There are 0 points on the scoreboard for either side. It'll be interesting to see what adjustments were made. The defenses have obviously been great.
So if you like defense, this is a classic game. This is what you're looking for. But now you're trying to figure out how to gain any type of an advantage on offense. Is it through a big chunk play that they haven't seen before? Or is it just running your regular offense and running it better, trying to create an opportunity?
We'll see which avenue they choose to go down.
All right, here we go.
Throwing again on 2nd and 10. Pace. And this time he's got the hookup. It's complete. And he'll get it into enemy territory just across midfield at the 49. The Bears on 3rd down. They've hit 4 of 7. This time they face a 3rd and 2.
No. Check. Patriot.
Off the play fake. Pace. And no escaping this time as he'll go down. They got him for a sack. Defensive end gets in there that time. They were in a 4-3. What's the responsibility of the ends versus the tackles there, Charles?
Well, most of the time when you talk about the ends, they're your pass rushers. They're the guys that you turn loose to try and get to the guy who's going to throw the football. The tackles, usually more of the run-stuffing variety. But the way this game is advanced, you're wanting a little bit of everything out of all of your guys. But let's just go ahead and break it down and make it simple. The guy who's the right defensive end versus a right-handed quarterback, that's the blind side. He's going after the quarterback. He's going to put him on the ground.
O'Donnell, he's on to punt as he gets this one away. And this one hits at the 1, continues on into the end zone for a touchback. The New York set to take the field. If you're a fan of punting, and I know that not many people are, but this game kind of turning into one for you.
Well, it's okay if it's a skills contest, right? We're really into it then, but not during the course of an actual game. This has turned into a field position game, though. Sometimes a better punter may actually determine the outcome.
To throw is James. Throwing on first down. He's going to flip that out to the flat. It's complete. And they'll blow that one up back at the 16-yard line. They'll wind up losing 4 yards on the play. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 14. Well, they try to swing it out left into the flat, complete, but really nice open field tackling.
And they played that one like a great boxer. They were on their toes on that one. They weren't back on their heels reacting to the play. No, they saw it, came right for it, and made a nice tackle for lost yardage.
James, off play action. He's going to float this one deep right side. And that's caught inside the 35. And all the way down to the 26. It's a big-time play there for the G-men. 58 yards. So the defense blitzed. A nice job picking that up, completing the pass.
And how in sync was the quarterback in his center on that play? They saw the blitz, made the appropriate calls, got the line engaged because now they know there are going to be extra guys coming at the quarterback, so they got their assignments down pat and kept them away from him, and he's able to step up in the pocket and fire one now for a really good strike.
Coleman now. Trying to run inside, but nothing there. No gain on the play there, 2nd down. Big boys down there in the trenches and a nice play to stop them cold. Nothing there.
Yeah, when you talk about big boys, you talk about those defensive tackles, those nose tackles. They're not just big, they're immense. And what a big-time play there.
False start, offense.
That's going to set him back 5 yards. They will run again with Coleman. And he's going to fight his way forward here for a modest gain. It's a 4-yard pickup, and that'll bring up a 3rd and 11 situation.
It's been a struggle this entire game trying to move the ball on the ground. But every now and then you find a little chink in the armor, and that type of run right there lets them know that they can't stop every single run for him.
And time finally runs out. He can't get rid of the football, and he's taken down.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. This offensive line, flat out, cannot handle this pass rush. It's been demonstrated time and time again.
And his kick is right there. It's good. And the Giants are off now to a 3-0 lead. So good news, Charles. This will not be a scoreless tie as we finally get our first points of the contest here in quarter number 3.
Let the celebration begin, partner. Yeah, it's just a field goal. But the way these defenses ruled the first half, any points are looking pretty good right about now.
And he nearly broke that for more. But as it is, they'll start this drive at about the 37-yard line. The Bears offense now heading back out onto the field, and still no points on the scoreboard. You're coming off of the 3 and out. They're just looking for anything to grab onto right now, aren't they?
I'm wondering if someone's going to take charge in the huddle. You know, we always look to the quarterback, but sometimes it's another player on the team, a star, a veteran, someone with some excitement and energy. It's like, all right, guys, let's shake things up and let's go, because they still have an opportunity to make things happen.
Shake it off. And it pops free. The collision there jarred the ball loose and brings up 2nd down.
Credit the secondary and credit the defensive game plan. They've been in his hip pocket all game long. They understood coming in that he was a big-time receiver.
And he is met at the line of scrimmage, and he goes down right there. No gain on that one as it brings up a 3rd and 10. Defense able to get there, swarm to the football. Zilch, 0 nada there for the offense, Charles.
Yeah, it really was an example of good team defense, wasn't it? Everyone handled their responsibilities, and they held them to no gain.
Let's go! Blue 90! Blue 90!
To throw on 3rd down. Pace looking for his running back, and he's got him. And he will lose yardage here to the 31-yard line. It's a 6-yard loss on the play, and it'll be 4th down.
Well, that wasn't exactly a thing of beauty. I know they completed the pass, but look at the yardage lost. I mean, who does that make happy?
That's why I don't play in PPR points per reception fantasy leagues right there.
You
don't deserve anything for that.
But you get credit for it? Is that how that works?
Yeah.
Well, I know whoever has this team's defense, they were happy about that play.
New York set to take the field. And they split the uprights last time for 3. They've got the lead. They're not going to play this conservative. They're not hoping for another field goal. They're hoping for a touchdown.
I'm with you on that one. I like where your head is. I like the way you're thinking because you're exactly right. Trying to sit on a lead and play that way, that doesn't work too well for most teams. Run your offense. Run what you do best. Exactly. Put it all the way down and try to increase your lead in a big way. And the best way to do it, touchdowns.
So 2nd and 10 here. Looking to throw. James. And the hit jarred loose. It's incomplete. The Giants on 3rd down. They've had their troubles. Just 1 for 6. This is 3rd and 10. Now James. From the gun, he'll throw. And he couldn't hang on to it through the contact. Incomplete. And the Giants send out their punter now. He's been terrific so far. And the kick's away as he angles this one for the sideline. So out of bounds on the punt, and the spot will be, the side judge says, right at the 35-yard line here. And now Chicago getting ready to go as they take the field. And 3 and out on the last drive. No points on the scoreboard. A little soul-searching now?
I would say so, and they need to help out their defense a little bit. They've had to be on the field a lot more than normal, put them in some tough spots. But what's the old adage? When you get another chance, it gives you a better chance to do it right.
They go play action here on 1st down. And the giant rush gets home as down he goes.
And that's the 2nd sack of the game, but this player, disruptive in all phases, whether he's going upfield, coming underneath, you name it. He's a big-time guy you have to block.
To throw on 2nd down. Pace, and that is incomplete. And Charles, got to like what this defense has been able to do these last couple of plays.
Yeah, they get the sack on 1st down, then they force the incomplete pass. Now they're just a play away from getting the football right back, but it's a big play. They've got to hold up.
The Bears on 3rd down, not quite 50%, 4 for 9. This will be a tough 3rd and 18.
Let's go! Green 39!
From the gun, Pace. Can't get away, and he's taken down.
The amount of sacks that they've absorbed in this game is absolutely extraordinary. Let's just face it. This offensive line, flat out, cannot handle this pass rush. It's been demonstrated time and time again.
Here's Pat O'Donnell now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. Taken from just outside the 30. A very good return that time. 18 yards. And the Giants will begin this drive in good shape. 1st and 10. And here comes the Giants offense back out onto the field. And a tight game after punting last time. See if they can get something going on this drive.
As they head to the field now, with the game this close, you've got to feel there's a sense of urgency for them going on offense right now. But they have to do it without letting panic creep in and affect their play.
This is Coleman, and they see right through that defensively as he'll be hit and taken down to the backfield.
So statistically, both of these offenses having a rough time getting a running game going. But, boy, what a nice play there defensively.
Tackling him behind the line, but you're right. You look at the numbers. Neither side looks on track in the ground game. So the defense has put them in a tough spot. It's 2nd and long. James now operating from the gun. And he almost had it defensively. Could have been a game changer there in the second half. Instead, it's 3rd down. The Giants on 3rd down. It's been a problem. Just 1 for 7 thus far. This will be 3rd and 15. Now whistles here and a flag down. I think a Giant jumped early.
False start, offense.
So that one will be accepted. And after the penalty, the offense backed up here on 3rd down. They'll run it now out of the gun. And he will be brought down at about the 43 that time. Give him 3 yards there as that'll take us to 4th down.
I like what they were thinking on defense. Just guard the first down sticks. Don't let anyone pass that. Didn't matter whether they threw it or ran it. They just ended up rallying to the football on the running play and stopped them short of a 1st down.
And he gets it away. A directional kick going toward the sideline. They had no return here. Where will they spot it? They say just outside the 20-yard line. The Bears offense now gets set to head back onto the field. And right now these guys, they're shuffling a little bit, maybe doubting, because 3 straight drives have ended with them punting the football away.
Yeah, so you start pointing fingers at each other a little bit, asking a lot of questions. What are you seeing? What are you getting? Maybe trying to narrow down your playbook a little bit and maybe get simpler rather than more complex in order to try and fashion together a drive.
And he'll get only a couple up to the 22.
Pardon me, you know I love to point out when teams break tendency and do something a little bit different from the norm. But when you run the ball in the first play of the drive, that's not a tendency breaker at all. That's just trying to establish yourself as you move forward.
Looking to throw on 2nd down. Pace throwing right, and that's complete. And he's brought down, getting this one up to about the 35. That one goes for 13 yards, and it moves the sticks. Here as we wrap up the week on a Monday night. We'll return with more after this break. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. Back now at Soldier Field. It's been a very hotly contested game to this point. Just a field goal separating these two teams as we get set for the 4th quarter. Some pretty good games all weekend. We may have saved the best for last. This Monday night game has been a dandy. Back to throw. Pace. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And the Giants have it. It's picked up. And they will set up shop with outstanding field position in the red zone at the 17-yard line.
That feels like an accumulation of the pressure we've seen all game. I mean, he's been on the turf a whole lot because of sacks. Eventually, something else happens as well. And this time it was a turnover.
Yeah, caught up to him. New York set to take the field. And they're coming off a 3-and-out, my friend.
I think they've got to look at that play sheet and go to a spot that they haven't gone before. Time to shake things up a little bit to try and get this offense moving.
Okay, so how do you do that? How do you shake things up?
You look at what you've called before, realize it hasn't worked so well, and maybe try and find one of those special plays from one of your better players, and maybe try and hit some.
And he will take it on in for a Giant touchdown. DeAndre Smelter, his 5th touchdown now on the year. And the Giants use the short field to their advantage as they cash in for 6. Solid job up front, really just a solid job all the way around to get that one in.
That was well executed, wasn't it? Well blocked, well run. End result, 6 points.
Touchdown. It's up and good, and that'll increase their lead to 10-zip. A nice, tidy little drive there, getting the ball in excellent field position, and only one play to score it. The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. This will be taken to the back of the end zone. And no thought to bring this one out. He'll just go down to a knee, and he'll take over at the 25. And now Chicago getting ready to go as they take the field. And they had the fumble last time that led to a touchdown. That's a no-no. We'll see what they do here this go-around.
A big no-no. Put that in capital letters. Turning it over, the other team takes it down and scores. That can be a deflator for a football team. Now it's up to the offense to get back out on the field and pick things up.
They're out there. We'll see if they can pick those things back up. So a nice job to break the one tackle, but not much daylight after that as he's brought down. 5 yards on the catch there, brings up 2nd down.
This possession means so much for them. They've got to focus on this drive and find a way to make this a one-possession game.
Yes.
Got to get a score.
Yeah, so good with a field goal. Don't necessarily need a touchdown. To throw on 2nd down. Pace into heavy traffic, and it's intercepted. Picked off at the 36. And they have the football and will set up shop at the 33-yard line. Scoring has really been at a premium. And, Charles, you got to tip your cap to this defense coming in here. Their offense, too, but this whole team coming in here on the road, getting a hard-fought win.
I think the way that they're finishing this one up, an exclamation point on a terrific game. As you noted, hard for them to put points on the board, and they hold them down one more time and finalize things.
New York set to take the field. They've got to be saying, boy, thanks for this field position.
Yeah, remember their last drive in which they scored a touchdown. That one also began in excellent field position, so let's see if they can capitalize a second time.
Going to give this time to the tailback. And they'll be inside the 25 now at the 24. Give him 10 yards on the pickup, and that'll bring up a 2nd and just about a few inches here.
Not an ideal spot to be on 1st down, but I love that the play caller did not immediately abandon the running game and say, okay, we've got to throw it in order to pick it up. Stayed with the run, was rewarded with a big-time pickup. Now they're in 2nd and manageable.
Play clock winding down. And he'll give it here to his running back. And he'll go down here right around the 23-yard line. Only a gain of a yard there, but it indeed gets him a new set of downs.
2nd and inches is oftentimes an invitation for an offense coordinator to take a big shot downfield because he feels like he can come back on 3rd down and pick up the 1st down. But sometimes you just don't want to break tendency. Stay with what you are, stay with who you know, and go get the 1st down. That's exactly what they did.
Now a handoff here to his running back. And down inside the 15, shy of the 10. Give him 11 yards that time and a new set of downs.
Whether it's what we call an even front or an odd front, and an odd front's real easy to figure out. If that guy is lined up over the nose of the center, typically that's an odd front defense. Odd number of people, meaning 3-4 versus the 4-3, which is an even front. You've got to control those guys in the middle. Whether it's the nose or the 2 defensive tackles in a 4-man front, if those guys can't get moved, you cannot run the ball in the middle of the field. And in that play, they were able to actually take care of business.
And he'll be dropped at about the 11 after only a yard.
Oh, there's no doubt that this is a huge defensive series right here. They've got to hold them to a field goal attempt or less. Otherwise, this game just might be out of reach. Let's see if they can hunker down and get it done.
Here's James looking to throw on second down. And he will take it on in for a Giant touchdown.
The big fella was the recipient there for that touchdown pass, and it seems like more and more the tight end is the guy you have to worry about most in the passing game.
Extra point attempt to come here. He's got it, and it's 17-0. So that drive spanned 5 plays, and it was polished off by a Giants touchdown. Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Now here's the signal caller getting ready to lead this offense again. And that interception that ended their previous drive likely also ended any shot they had at victory.
Yeah, long road back from here, no doubt about that one. But let's face it, if you're going to go out there and compete, you want to try and end on a strong note, don't you?
Absolutely. It won't end in a victory like you said, but they can maybe take something positive out of this one. And it's a short one here, complete to his tight end. And he's brought down, getting this one up to about the 35. 10 yards there to start the drive, and just enough by about the length of the football for a first down. Fresh set of downs here. Off play action. Pace. Going down the middle, and it's complete. And he's taken down, but not before getting this across midfield and just shy of the 40. 23 yards on the play. So after that big gain, let's see what else the offense has up its sleeve. On 1st and 10, Pace. Looking middle, and it's incomplete. Unable to connect on the first down pass play. Now it's second down. Throwing again. Pace. Going right side here, and that's complete. And he'll get it inside the 40 to the 39. That throw good for only a couple and brings up third down. The Bears on third down. They're right at about the league average, 40%, 4 for 10. This is 3rd and 8. Operating from the gun. Pace. And he will find his man on the end route. Complete. And he's able to pick up the first before he's taken down at the 27. They give him 13 yards there on the play and a fresh set of downs. And on the outside, they're playing press coverage.
Here we go now. Green 39. Green 39.
Throwing on first down. Pace. Holmes has got it complete. And he'll be brought down inside the 20 at the 19. A good pickup there. 8 yards on the first down completion. And here comes play number 6 on this drive.
Hurry up, here we go. 3-19.
Now a handoff looking right. And he'll take it down here just shy of the 15 at the 16-yard line. Only 3 there on the pickup, but that's enough to move the chains.
2nd and 2 is prime time for a little bit of a gamble, isn't it? Open up the playbook. Go play action. Toss that bad boy deep. But in this situation, give it to your back. Let him pick up a first down. Keep the sticks moving.
And he takes this one in for a Bears touchdown. Tell you what, not every quarterback is going to stay in the pocket. They sense the pressure coming. He took a hit there, still was able to stay in, make the throw, and complete it for a score.
And a lot of times you see a quarterback take a hit like that, and now all he wants to do is protect the football. Just take the sack and not turn it over. But not in this case. He took the big shot and found his guy downfield.
Cairo Santos on to try the extra point. And it's 17-7. So that one, an 8-play drive. It spans 75 yards. And the end result is a Bears touchdown. The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. Short kick here, fielded about the 17. And they're going to start this drive in pretty good shape as they get it up past the 30. New York set to take the field. And for them, a touchdown their last go-around. Obviously, they'll be hoping to do that again.
And when you start plotting for this drive, when you start thinking to yourself, okay, what are we going to do? You don't go away from what you did before because that worked, but you have to be prepared for wrinkles and counters because you know they'll make some adjustments.
And the drive starts with a handoff to Coleman. And he went backwards. He'll be down at the 30. It's a loss of 2 there, bringing up 2nd down.
Brandon, it's all about pace and tempo now for them. They've got the advantage, so I'm going to put musical terms for you. You don't want to go prestissimo. That's too quick, too lively, right? But you also don't want to slow it down too much. You don't want to go lento. What you really want to be is moderato. Nice and even, nice and steady, get those gains, and close out the game.
I think that chicken parm from last night's gone to your head. Under 4 to go now as the clock runs, and they come up on 2nd down. They'll run it now out of the gun. And he's got a good gain of 7 up to the 37.
And after that type of a run, there's some talking going on down on the field, but it's not trash talking. The guy who just carried the ball, he's going back and telling his offensive line, great job, keep it up, and we'll break that one soon.
Here we go now.
Looking to throw. James. Hard throw, incomplete.
And he still doesn't have a catch. We're into the 2nd half. I think it's a little bit of a surprise to me, but that was one he should have caught.
Absolutely. That was his best opportunity right there. He dropped it. And the Giants send out their punter now as he's on here to punt it away. This is away and a very good kick angled for the sidelines. And this will depend on the spot as it sails out of bounds. And they'll say it sailed out at the 10-yard line. And now Chicago getting ready to go as they take the field. And that last drive, a long drive, but not just that. They had a great air attack going. Do they stick with that?
I would think that they would, because if they were confident enough to do it on the last drive, starting backed up in their own territory, why would you change anything? They've got to be confident about what they're presenting and continue to do so.
Yeah, because the secondary, they really look clueless.
And that was amazing.
Defenders giving chase, but I don't think they're going to get there. And he is down deep into Giant territory. A big play there on the catch and run. 73 yards.
Coaches really don't care from what position they get this, but run after the catch ability, rack ability, is often the difference between winning and losing and changing field position.
Red zone opportunity.
Now let's go. Blue landing. Blue landing.
first down, they'll run it on the draw play. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. It's a 6-yard pickup, and it gets him to 2nd and 4. 4 yards remaining now on 2nd down. Time for a break. We're back to finish this one off after this. So the Bears with the football here as we welcome you back. And let's see what they've come up with offensively after having time to talk it over. Looks like the defense in press coverage here.
Here we go.
Looking to throw on 2nd down. Pace. And his throw is incomplete.
I'm going to need some help with this one. How did he miss him? Wide open in the end zone. He's not hurried. He's not hit. And somehow, incomplete?
Yeah.
What happened?
During film study, that's one where he's just going to shake his head, not be able to believe it.
6 points. They're by the wayside on that one.
Back to throw. Pace. Now the pressure gets there, and he goes down just inside the 20 at the 19. The Bears moving hastily in the hurry-up offense. Got to try it here. He's back to throw. And he is in. Touchdown, Chicago. Getting down to the end of this one here, Charles. That touchdown, though, gives them a glimmer of hope.
Without a doubt, because all had appeared lost, but that touchdown puts them right back in it with plenty of hope and a little more optimism.
Still an important piece of business to take care of, the extra point. And this is up and good to make it a 17-14 game. 5 plays there on that drive. And it culminates in a touchdown for Chicago. Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. And a short kick, taking it about the 16. And it's a pretty good return here as he'll get it up to the 29-yard line. And now out come the Giants. They've got the lead by 3, late stages of the game. What's the message here? Just hang on to the football? Is it that simple?
That's exactly right, because ball security is paramount. And you got a small cushion. A field goal can tie you, but you don't even think that way. Just take care of the ball, close out the game.
Will they close it out? We're about to find out. They'll start out on the ground with Coleman. And he'll work this one up to about the 38. And now the Bears electing to call a timeout defensively. It's just their first. They've got 2 more to use here in the final stages. Just 1 yard to go here on 2nd down. Gonna give this time to the tailback. And he'll lose yardage on the play back at the 37-yard line. Now a second timeout called for by the defense. That'll leave them with just 1 remaining in this 4th quarter of play. So a defensive timeout, chance to regather, regroup, and get set as we resume action. To throw is James on 3rd and 2. And the ball is knocked out. And I think the Bears have recovered. They have. Often on fumbles, you look at the guy who coughed it up and say, geez, what did he do? But, hey, let's tip the cap to the defense here.
Not a problem at all, my man. I'm not even going to tip it. I'm going to doff my cap to him. Congratulations. Big-time play. Knocking it free and creating something good for your team.
The Bears offense now getting ready to take over. They're only in need of a field goal, a decent amount of time on the clock. So Tell me if I'm wrong. You don't have to be too panicked here.
No, not at all. I agree with you. And this is where your preparation and your confidence comes into play. They've worked on these situations.
They practice this all the time.
They practice it all the time. They know what they want to get done. And in a lot of cases, the great competitors, they love this situation. They think they can go ahead and get it done.
They practiced it. We'll see if practice makes perfect.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense.
Well, when you're leading in the fourth quarter, that's not the penalty you want.
Not at all, and now your discipline comes into question. Having poise this stage of the game, you can't have those kind of plays.
Let's go.
He's back to throw. And, a crusher there as it's intercepted. Picked off inside the 5. And he returns it here to his own 18-yard line. Agreed, that's twice now in this fourth quarter.
As a quarterback, a lot of times you think it's all on you to make plays when you're losing. And here, the play's not there, but he throws it anyway.
And New York set to take the field. They have the 3-point lead. Defense did their job. Now, late game, although it looks good, you know the coaches, they haven't counted this as a victory yet.
I agree with you totally. Big applause for the defense, but no one is taking their headset off on the sidelines. They don't believe this game is over. The offense has to close this one out by taking care of the football.
And they'll try to close it out now. Now the defense will burn their third and final timeout. And as the two teams talk it over on their respective sidelines, we take a break. And now following that timeout, the defense back out onto the field. And the Giants will kneel it here out of the victory formation. The Giants on third down, not getting the job done at all. A very poor 1 for 10. This is going to be 3rd and 13. Down to a knee one more time, and that should just about do it. And the Giants send out their punter now. And you wonder, could they possibly think about taking a safety here? A road win in the National Football League. Charles, you never take that for granted no matter who you're playing, no matter where you're playing.
You take it and you run with it. And you know you prime the pump all week in your own home facility. No one thinks we can do this. Only people who believe are right here in this room. And then you go on the road, band together, and get it done.
So for the Giants, the win keeps them barely hanging on to their playoff hopes as they move to 4-7. And they'll return home next week to take on the Detroit Lions. Meanwhile, for the Bears, the problems just get worse and worse as they fall to 2-9 now on the year. And they'll have a tough one at home next week against the Green Bay Packers. So that'll do it for us. For Charles Davis and all our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL on EA Sports. With that, we say good night from Chicago.